just call the meeting to order.
You call the meeting to order,
6:42.
6:42. Thank you. Roll call. Rick Clemens,
Yeah.
Maria Torres.
Here.
Andrew,
Here.
it's escaping me for a minute.
Okay.
March. Couple. And Holly Christo and myself. Others present.
So,
It's uses, yeah, it's two different agendas.
Oh, okay, so we're going with this. So we'll go with, the next, election of officers.
Yes.
Do you have any nominations for chairman?
I nominate Andrew March for chairman.
I second that nomination.
Any others?
Any others?
I vote Andrew Roach as well.
In favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous of all present.
So you can keep calling him El Capitan.
right,
Thank you.
we move on to 2B, an election, vice chairman. Do I have any nominations for vice chair
What is the duty of a vice chair?
to act in my absence?
That's it.
That's pretty much literally it.
I nominate Holly Christo for vice chair.
Do I have a second? I'll second that. All those in favor?
Did you want to see if anybody else wants to
I was gonna say if there's any other nominations.
Okay. Holly.
Seeing none, nominations are closed. All those in favor of electing Holly Christo vice chairman? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous
Unanimous.
of all present. Agenda item 2C, the election of a secretary. Do I have any nominations?
Nominate Rick Clemens.
Thanks.
Do I have a second?
She's a very busy.
I'll get her next year. She got a year. She got a year to do it. That
I'll
way.
get acclimated.
But yeah.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous of all present. We will adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn the reorganization?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All those in
Second.
favor?
All right, 6:45, 3 minutes.
Unanimous
That's
of
it.
all present. All right, all right. We'll go ahead and call the regularly scheduled redevelopment authority meeting to order at 6:45. Roll call, Rick Clements,
Here.
Holly Christo,
Here.
Maria Torres,
Here.
and Andrew March present. We have a quorum. Agenda item number 2, welcome and thank you to our Urban Renewal Plan Community Advisory Committee.
So we have on the line, Melanie Collins.
Yes,
business-
I'm here.
Yes, thank you so much. Business owner of Styles Clothing Business on the corner of Main Street and Central. And she also has Backyard Shenanigans, blow up party goodies.
Okay.
And
Yep.
she's, as of last year, she has been promoting and coordinating a youth and entrepreneur fair in town. Thank you, Melanie, for everything you do. Luella Perez. Luella is now on our Economic Development Commission as of this summer. So welcome, Luella.
Okay.
I appreciate all the work that everybody's been doing with this. This is how we get stuff done that doesn't really get broadcasted on television often. So it's all the hard work behind the scenes is how we get the big things done that help move Southbridge forward. So I appreciate all the time and effort everybody, including our citizen members, have been putting into this. It's fantastic. We'll move on to agenda item number 3 to review the proposed actions for the Urban Renewal Plan Major Amendment with BSC Group.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to share my screen and go through a PowerPoint presentation, but I also want to echo the comments about your citizen or community advisory committee. They've really provided some great input the couple times we've met with them, and we're looking forward to some more of their input this evening. If I can change the slide here. There we go. So the purpose of tonight's meeting is to review the objectives and actions that have been incorporated into a draft of the amendment number 1 document, the amendment to the Urban Renewal Plan. So we want to present the objectives, the actions, and get comment from everybody so that we can take your comments incorporate the appropriate ones into the report. And I say appropriate because in the end, it's the redevelopment authority that will be asked to approve this. So you'll need to take into consideration community comments and what you may want to incorporate from those comments. So have a final draft that then will be ready for local and state approval. Local approval will be the planning board, town council, yourselves within an official vote, and then it goes to the state for final approval. But once we have a draft, the state does allow us to submit an informal draft for review, so it's not an official submittal. It's more they give us their time to review what's in the draft and give us some comments so that our formal submittal of the urban renewal plan will be a stronger document with their input also. So I'm going to go through the objectives, and then we have action items, comments and feedback. I think I will ask for those after each slide. So I'm not going to run through everything. We can take it piece by piece. And then once we've gone through everything and everybody's had a chance to comment and ask questions, we'll talk about the next steps in the process. So just as a kind of set the stage for the objectives, just to remind everybody, the overall goal is to create a more vibrant downtown area through a series of public actions intended to stimulate private investment, resulting in a revitalized central business district with a mix of uses and opportunities for people to live, work, shop, and play. So the original urban renewal plan had a number of objectives, and those will stay in the plan. Amendment 1 adds new objectives to what was already in the plan. So I'm just going to go over the new objectives. And then this is all 5 of them, and then there'll be a slide for each one. So 1 is to increase stakeholder engagement with the Black and Latinx community members, offer incentives to attract private investment into downtown. Obviously, an urban renewal plan is all about attracting private investment, but a new objective is to offer incentives, which the town had been doing previously, but I think there's a much better package that the town's able to provide right now. Improve the condition of roadways and sidewalks to promote convenient, safe, multimodal circulation throughout downtown. Obviously, with the bikeway coming in, going to have to, all the roadways should accommodate vehicles, pedestrians, and bicyclists to really take advantage of the rail trail. And that links right into number 4, enhance and promote the Quinnebog Valley Rail Trail as a community asset, and then improve public access to and the visibility of the Quinnebog River as a community resource, fostering economic development and environmental stewardship through riverfront revitalization.
Yay!
So that was in a new riverfront park was in the original plan. This gets a little more specific on it, and it incorporates the environmental stewardship, which is great. So now we're going to take these one by one, and as I said, after each slide, and open it up for comments, questions. So 1 is to increase stakeholder engagement with the Black and Latinx community members, and that is to develop multilingual outreach materials for meetings, surveys, and plan updates. That's already being done. I know we're working with Peg on a couple projects, and the town has already started doing that for pretty much all their public meetings. So just the SRA through this plan is kind of reinforcing what's already been started, and hopefully we can build upon it and maybe make it more effective down the road. Collaborate with organizations, churches, and cultural groups that serve the Black and Latinx residents as organizations that can help get the word out. Leverage existing trust networks to distribute information, co-hosting listening sessions, and recruit community ambassadors as we try to involve more new people into any public process, no matter where they come from. It's important that they have trust in what's being done, and it kind of goes, you would think that's common sense, but we've heard from a number of immigrant communities who have come from countries where they really don't trust the government. So it's important to establish that trust early on, because they come with a preconceived notion that they have to have their guard up. Organize public workshops, walking tours, and pop-up events with interpretation services. That kind of links into number one. It's not just the printed material, it's the verbalized communication. Recruit and train local residents from Black and Latinx communities as ambassadors, whether it's on the SRA, whether it's on a community advisory committee, whether it's a group that's advising you on any one of the actions. And then share information through local radio, community newspapers, social groups, etc. as another mechanism to get the word out. And align engagement efforts with cultural festivals, events, and heritage months. In other words, kind of build on other events that are taking on to engage the Black and Latinx community. Maybe attend those events if you're looking for input on a particular action item. So with that, any comments, questions from anybody in the room or on the call?
I love the second to the last bullet about sharing better. I just don't know how.
Okay.
So, I guess that's the goal is to figure out the how of how to pull these things off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just in the Economic Development Commission meeting where they were talking about how do we improve our website? How do we reach people better? What are our options? So I feel like, everybody knows it's something we need to do. We just have to figure out how to do it.
Yep. It's important. And if a number of groups are talking about it, then when you get to your annual budgeting, maybe a few groups can speak up and debate it as part of is there funding needed to increase that? Do we have someone joining us or just a friend in the...
Well, just the funds flagging down vague for a second. Go ahead.
Yes, so if you guys are good without me, I would like to step into this meeting.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, the next, offer incentives to attract private investment into downtown. And some of this builds upon some things that Peg is already doing. She gave us an overview of some of the programs that are available to property owners now. And that's to offer small grants or matching funds for building facade improvements, signage upgrades, interior code compliance, historic preservation. Again, she has a program that has helped property owners with all of these items already. So that's good to let parties know that those programs are available to kind of help offset some of their costs. Another one is to offer density bonuses, reduce parking requirements, or mixed-use flexibility for projects that align with the urban renewal plan goals. This would most likely have to be done with the planning board as a change or modification to the zoning bylaws. So it's being put there, and if everybody agrees, an action item would be to then work with the planning board to see where there might be opportunities to offer density bonuses. By density bonuses, a developer will be able to put more square footage on their property, but in return, they're providing something that's consistent with the urban renewal plan, kind of promoting it and taking it a next step somehow. And so it's kind of a negotiation. You do something for us, we'll do something for you, but it's not a, what's the word I'm trying to use? It's not a, like you have to do something for us in order for us to do something for you. If you choose to, we will do something for you, but we're not forcing you to do it in order to get your project done. You can get your project done under existing zoning. Next one is to partner with local banks, funding institutions, and Mass Development is a state agency that it's kind of a quasi-public state agency that helps promote economic development in the state. In order to create a revolving loan fund for small businesses and property investments. Other communities have had this goal, and it does really require kind of some organized engagement of the local banks and other financial institutions. So someone really needs to own this and take it on. Mass Development both Heather and I work for Mass Development on various projects, and in the past, they've mentioned to me Southbridge and what's going on. So they're aware of your community, and I'm not sure their financial situation now in light of everything else, but certainly a call to them, can find out what programs or assistance they might be able to provide. Then assist property owners in applying for state and federal and historic tax credits. This can be rather labor intensive, and sometimes kind of the forms inhibit property owners to actually fill them out because they can be somewhat overwhelming. But if the town was able to provide assistance in this, that would be a great benefit. Again, that may be a funding item that Peg needs another person in her office to help with this type of assistance. But we're putting it out there and then see if there are ways to actually make this happen. And then the last one is to form a business improvement district. I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but other communities have done this. And I know Peg has talked with the town of Hudson about their downtown business improvement district. And this, Heather may jump in because she knows this better than I do, but it's a group of, not really a group of property owners, Heather, right? Is there like a certain percentage of property owners within an area that need to agree to this?
Correct.
Can you explain a little more? Go ahead.
So there's a specified area, and you need the buy-in of a majority percentage of property owners. I don't remember the exact specific number. And it is kind of a added tax to the properties that then goes into this bid organization, which provides services specifically for that area. So it's an it's a betterment program in a way. If there's trash and there's trash containers and there's not a regular pickup, then that's something that the bid could do. If there's planters with plants that, there's an organization that oversees the maintenance of those and make sure that they are flourishing and look nice. They pull all the property owners and businesses together for different events. Just to help promote the vibrancy and kind of the quality of life in that district.
Thank you. And again, right now, I know some of the property owners, they have a thin margin. So adding another property tax may not be something they want to do right now, but we put it out there because, again, Peg looked at the town of Hudson, and they had a really struggling downtown maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and it took some time, but it finally, started picking up with investment and revitalization, and new things were happening, and public investment was happening, really improving the downtown public realm. And then we were working with the town at the time when they developed their bid, because things were picking up and there was more retail activity happening, so the property owners felt they could support something like this. And again, as Heather mentioned, they are able to, through their funds, they determine how they want to spend their funds, working with the community, with the municipality. But they, again, they have flowers, so they have people that can come and maintain them and water them. They put up banners, they have special events. They do a number of things to promote the downtown and make it an even more attractive place that people want to visit. So any questions on these action items or this objective? Okay.
And one of the things you put, opportunity zones might be something you could put in there, but I don't know if that's something, financial, something on that, part of local banks, but opportunity zones is something that could be in there.
Yeah, again, Heather, are you familiar with that program?
It's a federal program, but it's where you can take, people can take investments, capital gains, and put it into investments, and they don't have to pay tax on it if they leave it in there for a number of times. But a good portion of our downtown area are part of that opportunity zone map.
Okay. Oh, okay. Great. I'll talk to Peg about that. It's a great suggestion.
And the other thing I'd say, you have density bonuses and reduced parking requirements. Those are like setting us up for more housing and less parking. So I don't know if that's, I guess the planning board would have to review that and see what they think on that.
Right, and sometimes it's a shared parking situation, so that it may be that a parking space could be used for two different uses. One is a daytime use and one is more of an evening overnight use. But there are a number of different models out there, and you'd have to evaluate them and see if anything makes sense, and maybe they don't. Next one is improve the condition of roadways and sidewalks to promote convenient and safe multimodal circulation through downtown. And this is something Southbridge is already excelling in, and we've got some good news recently that are going to be doing even more of this. So it's all about reconstructing or refurbishing deteriorated roadways using complete street principles, and complete street principles meaning roadways that serve vehicles, bicyclists, pedestrians, public transit, all different modes of transportation, but at the same time incorporate traffic calming features such as narrowed lanes, curb extensions, what they call raised intersections, where instead of the pedestrians going down into the roadway goes up into the crosswalk to enhance safety for pedestrians and cyclists. Some of this is being done is incorporated into the project that will be improving Hook Street, La Rochelle, and their connections to Hamilton and Central. Some of these things are being brought into that. There's a study going on for design work on the rest of Central Street, which will widen sidewalks, narrow travel lanes, and do these things there. So this is already being considered. And the most recent thing was the town applied for a federal, what's called RAISE grant through the Federal Highway Administration. And after being told they got the grant in early January, once the new administration came in Washington, that got put on hold, but they were just told they are getting the grant. And we've already had a meeting on that. So that will improve all of Hamilton Street from Main Street through urban renewal area and then connecting back up to Main Street down in the Globe Village area. So that'll be a major investment. It's like over $7 million grant to improve that. So kudos to Peg. She's pulled in another big one, and that's certainly a road that needs improvements, and especially to improve, again, the pedestrian and bicycle circulation. With the rail trail, it's plans to be completed by the end of this year, late fall. We want to make it easy for people to walk and bicycle to that rail trail. So all these abutting streets need to be able to accommodate those multiple modes of transportation. Which kind of gets to the next one, next two, replace broken sidewalks, uneven sidewalks, making things are ADA accessible as much as possible. And then bike lanes or shared use travel lanes on roadways, so it's clearly safe for bicyclists and vehicles. All those things are being incorporated into these roadway projects that are either already designed or being built now, such as Crane Street. Work on Crane Street is about to start, and fortunately the town really supports this, and this will be part of other roadway projects that are in the downtown area. Another part of that is to improve pedestrian scale lighting. Again, this will be part of what's on Hamilton Street. One, just for the kind of the what we call the placemaking, the visual impact of that, but also make sure people feel safe walking on these streets. So there's pedestrian scale lighting for after darks, after sunset circulation, so people still feel safe walking along these streets. And then a wayfinding system, directional system. Peg's already got something in the works for wayfinding, and we just need to make sure that's brought into all these projects as appropriate to build upon what the town's already initiated on that. Any thoughts on that? One thing I want to add is what the state looks for in urban renewal plans is they're not a plan to do more planning, they're a plan for implementation. So when this amendment is submitted, We can talk about, there are items, action items that have funding and will be implemented, such as Hook, La Rochelle, all those roadway improvements. That's funded. That's a recommendation, was a recommendation in the original plan. It's still a recommendation, and we can say funding is in place, that will be implemented. Hamilton Street, funding is in place, that will be implemented. The town's going after money to do all of Central Street, but at least they've already initiated the design process and can say we are going after money to improve all of Central Street. So these are all things the state looks for to show that, yes, there actually is a way to advance all many of the recommendations in the urban renewal plan. Next one is to enhance and promote rail trail as a community asset. And I think everybody should be proud that this is finally getting built after, I don't know how many decades. Everybody's thrilled that this is happening, and it's going to be a big boost for downtown, and the town needs to position itself to really maximize the benefit of the rail trail going through the heart of the city, heart of the town, I mean. The benefit for businesses, having special events that draw more people downtown into those businesses, developing a brand for the rail trail so that if there are events associated with it, there's some sort of brand that people identify with those events and the trail itself. Certainly, the project has bike racks and benches, but really, where necessary, add more signage, racks and benches, especially associated with these other roadway projects. Rest areas, shade structures, so not just for people to move along it, but for people to rest as they move along it, because it needs to accommodate all types of users. Encourage businesses to take advantage of the rail trail, kind of cater to some of those rail trail users, not exclusively, but add them into who they're advertising to. And then host community events associated with the rail trail. And this has been talked about since we first did the feasibility study, and the Recreation Department is aware of this and excited about the opportunity to maybe add some events that really use the rail trail as a venue for some new special events. Any questions or thoughts on that one? This is good because I think it means we've hit it. And this all comes from input from you and input from the community meetings, conversations with town staff. So it sounds like people are comfortable with most of these, if not all of them. Then this one, again, I mentioned the original plan, we talked about a new riverfront park, but people, I think at the public meeting, this might have been the #1 item that was repeated by people over and over, is the riverfront park idea they really liked, but really having better access to and visibility of the river. It's a downtown asset, it's a great asset, and there's no, organized place to get into it and use it in a variety of ways. So one is, having some sort of riverfront walkway or pathways to the riverfront at certain areas where you could access it. At those areas, look for opportunities for overlooks, fishing piers or whatever. So once people do get to the river, they can be comfortable viewing it or fishing while they're looking at it. Again, the riverfront park was recommended in the original plan. It's still recommended on the Cormier property, which has access from Central Street. So it's not landlocked. There'd be access to it, and it's a large parcel that could really accommodate a number of things there. And one thought was have an opportunity where a private vendor could come in and operate canoe rentals, kayak rentals, rafting opportunities, maybe excursions from that site. And we've seen that happen in other communities where the public sector kind of creates the stage or the area for some private vendor to come in, and there's obviously a little bit of revenue that comes from that back to the town or the redevelopment authority if you still own the property. As you'll see in some of the recommendations on our maps, redevelop vacant or underutilized properties along the river that need to be revitalized. Those properties need to be redeveloped anyway, but maybe having the river there is a way to add more value to them. Again, signage, this goes into the wayfinding, direct people to these points where they can access the river, but then also the environmental stewardship, look for opportunities to repair the river banks, riparian areas. Rivers rise and fall with the weather, and you need to protect the abutting land. We don't want to contain and channelize the river. We want the river to work with the abutting property, so they both benefit and there's not damage done from flooding events to abutting property. And then again, special events associated with the river once you get access to it. People love to do river cleanups, have events there, etc. Good on that one. Now we get to go to the pretty pictures. So we had two staff people go out and do an inventory of the properties within this expanded urban renewal area. And this map, which I don't know if you can see the differences, but it's color coded to show vacant buildings, which is a kind of a darker tan, vacant land, which you can see the most of because it's a kind of a lighter buff color, partially occupied buildings, which have a yellow line around them and a crosshatch, and then there are little symbols in here to talk about vacant storefronts. So one, we need to do this for the urban renewal plan, this inventory, but two, this helps identify areas where there's a need for this public action to promote private development, because a number of these parcels have been sitting vacant for quite a while. Private enterprise alone hasn't invested in them. So through this urban renewal plan, you're looking to incentivize and encourage investment in these properties. So this feeds into other actions, which are one, parcels to be acquired. Not every one of those vacant parcels has been identified as a potential acquisition, but most of them have. Some of the parcels are owned by the town, and we're recommending transferring to the redevelopment authority. One being the fire station on Elm. Once they move to a new fire station, if that's available, have that go to you. There's another small parcel at the intersection of Charlton and Worcester Street. I don't know if you can see that little green area there, that we're proposing that go to the redevelopment authority, part of it be sold off for a new residential lot, and the rest of it be expanded through some intersection improvements and become a small pocket park there. But if you get resources like that from the town and you're able to sell these properties, that becomes revenue generation for the redevelopment authority. I'm not saying that'll automatically happen. You would need to negotiate that with the town, but it's a way for you to get revenue and then plug it back into the next project that hopefully generates additional revenue, and it becomes almost like a revolving fund and gets you going. If you can get funding, seed money from other sources, that's great. But it does take money for a lot of these actions dealing with the redevelopment of key parcels that have been identified. For every parcel that's recommended for, for acquisition, again, I've said this before, a lot of you know this, that doesn't mean the redevelopment authority will acquire these properties. It doesn't mean if you do acquire them, it will be through eminent domain. But you do have the ability to acquire them through eminent domain. But one of your objectives from the first plan is to minimize any acquisitions by the redevelopment authority. You're really here to help facilitate and negotiate and promote certain redevelopment through private means that supports the urban renewal plan. But in some cases, there may be a property owner that's willing to donate their property to the town. Actually, there's a hint of one already. But this urban renewal plan would allow you, the redevelopment authority, to accept that donation of land. So there's a lot of ways the land could come to you, but in many cases, hopefully it gets redeveloped without having to go to the redevelopment authority. So some of these actions, we'll get a little more detail on them. What this shows is these public realm improvements. Some of these actions were identified already, but kind of the green swath through the middle here is the rail trail, which is not yet complete. So we're going to show that as an action that will be completed in the near future. We've got Hamilton Street, this other long shape here that, again, I just mentioned, funding's available for that. The large oval in the middle is that whole Hook, La Rochelle connection to Hamilton, Central and Foster Street project that has funding and will happen. Another longer oval here for the rest of Central Street, again, which the town's already pursuing. And then up at this corner here, as I mentioned, of Charlton and Worcester Street, that public realm improvement would be tightening up that intersection and adding new green space there, or enhancing the current green space there. This map also shows, from the legend you can see, just the very light colored buildings are existing, but on those parcels that are identified as potential acquisition, some of them would either are vacant and new buildings would be built. Some of them have buildings that have really outused their useful life and would need to be torn down and new buildings installed. And some of those parcels have buildings that seem to have good bones, so they would be rehabilitated. So the legend on this map shows all those actions, but within the urban renewal plan itself, we have separate maps for each one of these. I just thought it'd be easier to kind of capture a number of these on this one illustrative plan. Open space, again, I mentioned, where am I going here? Talked about the open space improvements. Again, the large oval is the Riverfront Park. A small oval by the circle by the depot is kind of an enlarged trailhead park. Again, that Charlton and Worcester intersection, a new little park there. Over at the intersection of Mechanic and North Street, there was a large parking lot and a little parcel across the street that's owned by the town. The action recommended there is to take maybe a 10-foot border around that lot so the town can do landscaping. That's a major gateway and entry into that part of town. Right after this parking lot with a chain link fence you see, there's the AO complex, the hotel, conference center, the common there. It's very attractive, and this could be another major gateway into downtown, and we want to have kind of a nice entrance into that area once you cross the river. And then up on Hamilton Street, there was a small lot that is vacant. I think it's owned by the town. And the thought is to develop that as a very small park, kind of associated with the Hamilton Street improvements, but it's elevated. It's much higher than Crane Street below it, and it becomes a nice overlook to the river from that higher elevation there. So it's a way to make use of a current town-owned property for a small little pocket park, again, tied in with the Hamilton Street improvements. Again, we talked about buildings to be rehabilitated. So of those acquisition parcels, you can see a number of them here proposed for rehabilitation, whether it be, let's see, the old advanced auto part here on Main Street, going down that, the curved brick building at 344 Main Street, a couple doors away from that, a couple parcels, buildings there that are mostly vacant, if not vacant. Zoe's Pizza, which has been vacant. I know they're not the owner, but everybody knows the building I'm talking about. The fire station, soon to be vacant. There's a parcel next to Town Hall that is going through transition. Hopefully private enterprise will be able to rehab that. And then getting over to the Mechanic, Charlton Street area, that whole complex of the old church and the old school and the rectory and everything there, which has sat vacant for years and years, having something done there. Getting that back into use, in other words, primarily residential. in that area. Some of these other ones downtown would be mixed use, be commercial with residential above, with probably what the market would support. And then these are the buildings to be constructed, again, on the same plan, it's slightly different color. But in some of these parcels, either, again, they're vacant parcels or parcels where the existing buildings really are better off torn down with new buildings going up. So you can see this is scattered along Hamilton, Maine, off of Foster, and then up again in that Mechanic Street, North Street area there. Again, some vacant parcels, and some of them would be buildings that are vacant or mostly vacant that really should come down and something new get built. And what that leads to, I'm not going to get into detail of this, but each one of those parcels that's going to be redeveloped, we need to show what the proposed land use will be. The land use could be exactly what it is now, or the land use could be a new land use, such as a commercial building that's on North Street, that's right along the river, that will then become residential. So this shows that the changing land use. There's a black line around some of these, it's kind of hard to see, but here's that North Street parcel, kind of L-shaped. There's a one-story or two one-story buildings on it, I believe, that fronts the river. It's got residential close by. It'd be great residential opportunity there. You could look out over the river from the backside, and again, it ties in a lot of the residential in the neighborhood now. That's it for me. I want to hear from everybody else. If you have any suggestions, comments, endorsements, we'll take it all.
Anybody from the redevelopment authority?
Jeff, is there, is there a way that we can receive a copy of this?
Oh, yeah.
So
Yep. Yeah, I know it's a lot to absorb tonight. So yes, I will get Peg a copy and she can distribute it.
Thank you.
Yep. Absolutely. I should have mentioned that earlier.
I think it looks fabulous. I don't have anything off the top of my head.
It's a great add-on.
I think it's, well done. Well done.
Thank you. Great. Well, we'll get you a copy, and the Citizens Advisory Committee too will get a copy. We'll talk to Peg about, getting comments back by a certain time, because again, we do need to move this along. We want to wrap everything up in August, the report itself up in August. If we can start getting local approvals in August, great, but at least have the draft report done, so then it's just a matter of attending certain meetings to wrap everything up. Go ahead.
What would be our next step? Do we have to make a motion to accept this or to?
So once they get that report, we can send that, we can take a vote on that and then approve it. Once
Yes.
all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed, and then it's gonna go through all the other necessary town boards after that.
And what's the timeline for us to make that determination to take that vote? Is there a timeline? He's just saying he wants something
This
done.
month, yes.
Yeah, this month. So.
What I'm hoping is this month have a final draft to present to you and have you, I will say, endorse it to go to the planning board and then town council, assuming both of those bodies approve it, then come back to you for final approval, because they may, in their approval process, may want to see a change here or there, and it should just be a minor change. But then you're approving the final version that then goes to the state for review and approval. So we may start the process in August, but we're certainly not going to get through it in August, but hopefully we can get through it in September for all those approvals. But they have to be scheduled out. Planning board has certain days they meet, council has certain days they meet, so we'll have to work with Peg to plug into their schedules.
Did we solve all the world's problems while I was gone?
Yes,
All but
we did.
two. We're still working on those. Taco Tuesdays being a legit thing. And, you know, there's some other matters that we have to take care of, but the rest of the world's problems have been solved.
Well done.
So Peg, I'm going to get you a copy of the PowerPoint so you can distribute to the Redevelopment Authority and the Community Advisory Committee members. And then we need to give them a date. If they have comments, we'd like those comments received by, and maybe Peg, you and I can talk about that tomorrow morning. So we got to keep things moving forward, but at the same time, we presented a lot of information tonight. People need some time to review it and give back comments if they, once they understand everything.
Yeah. So, one of my comments is going to be, can we build something into the urban renewal plan amendment that says, like, we want to hire someone like a consultant to help us?
Well, we have in there now hiring a staff person, but
Okay.
I could rephrase it to say a staff person or a consultant.
Yeah.
I don't want to say both, because we could eventually use a staff for the redevelopment authority, but more immediately, I wonder if there might be an opportunity to hire a consultant again. You know, I was aiming for a Rob McKeon when I wanted, you know, when we got Mark Karen. So you know, I want, even if it was just on a very, very part-time basis.
Yep, yeah, that can be in there. Yep. Again, we already have a recommendation, but we can finesse the wording a bit to allow it to be more flexible, part-time, full-time, whatever.
Did y'all love the amendments?
That was great.
Yeah, a lot of stuff there.
Well, we've been talking about for what, a year and a half now? So far? Or
Yeah.
actually longer.
We started this really back in 2021.
I was about to say.
An agenda. Yeah, so this has been in the making for years, yeah. And what the plan would be is next year, we would go for a grant through what's called the One Stop for Growth in June, a planning grant for environmental review of the urban agenda, or the urban renewal plan amendment, because that's a next step in requirement, to be able to take action on anything in there. Right. And did you go over that?
No, I didn't. Thanks for bringing that up. Yep.
Okay.
You could take any action that was in the first plan, and that actually, Peg, I sent you an email looking for that original MIPA approval.
Which I sent to you.
No, you sent us that. That was for the TIP project.
That is what we got for the TIP. So because it was within the TIP, that was they decided to do that early acquisition environmental clearance as a catch-all to cover us.
Oh,
and
okay.
And the way they justified it is they took that parcel and they took possession of the piece that has the ADA handicap ramp right at the corner.
All right, I'll have to review that again, and maybe we can talk about that tomorrow when we talk about the schedule.
Okay.
Because there's a state requirement, urban renewal plans require approval by the state MIPA office. Okay.
And when we talk tomorrow, remind me of that consultant.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful.
All right, thank you all very much. Good to see all of you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Community Advisory Committee.
Yes, thank you, Melanie. Thank you.
It's all great.
Thank you.
Bye.
You're welcome. No,
Did you have any questions?
Melanie, Luella, did you guys have questions?
No, I don't. I don't have any questions. It looks good.
Thank you.
We look forward to it.
All right, have a good night.
All right, you
You
too. Bye-bye.